One of the best things about Scream is it's the kind of movie that when you watch it, every time you pull out something different. Geeks, it's spooky season, and we're talking about quite possibly my favorite horror movie of all time, and that's Wes Craven's classic Scream. And I love that the first video that I'm doing about Scream is a theory that Mrs. Bearded Geek gave to me the last time we were watching Scream. So we're about a quarter of the way through the movie, and she turns to me and says, I think Tatum is involved in all of this. Now, y'all, I have seen Scream about 437,000 times, and it never dawned on me that she's involved in the whole thing. But she laid it all out, and I had to share it. So I think Tatum was involved, and I think that there are key moments that support the theory beyond just the fact that she has the personality of a cactus.
Nice welt, sweetie. Let's go, Sid.
So we've got the iconic beginning, right? And it is a beginning that I 1000% believe both Billy and Stu are involved in. I think one guy's on the phone. I think one guy's doing the heavy lifting. I don't think it makes a lick of sense for it to be a single person. So I think it's both Billy and Stu. So notice that the next day, Tatum openly tells everybody that they were together the entire night. Now, you can make an argument that he went over there after the deed was done. And thus, in her mind, they were together the entire night. However, and this is going to come up again later, but the movie plays with time along the way to throw you off the scent on who the killers are, what the big twist is. But it's done in a way to break up events. And when they do it, it doesn't conflict with the actual dialogue. It's at an action level. So stick a pin in that. At some point, I think Stu told Tatum about what he and Billy were doing and why. And Tatum was sympathetic to the entire story. I mean, we got that incredibly awkward conversation between Tatum and Sid.
I mean, you can only hear that Richard Gere gerbil story so many times.
So she clearly knows what's up with her mom, and she chalks it up to village rumors. And there may be rumors that were spread. Feels a little weird that Sid didn't know about that, but whatever. But there's just this subtle character beat that you can tell there's like a point of division between those two talking about that. So I think as far as Tatum telling everybody that those two were together the entire night was said with the knowledge of what he was doing. I don't think she was directly involved in Casey and Steve's undoing, but I do think that she was well aware of what both guys were doing. Now, Billy isn't a fan of any of this, and we'll see that play out specifically later on. So, fast forward here to the first scene where we have Sid and Ghostface together on screen.
Would you be calling from my front porch?
Notice something. Tatum is incredibly late getting to the house, but like by a weird amount. And I only reference the time thing again because this time we are given specific times to work with, and she is really late.
Don't worry, Casey and Steve didn't fight it till way after 10.
I think all of that was on purpose, and I'll go a step further. I think it was all framed in a way where Tatum was able to get in touch with Stu to let Stu know that they were back at her house so that way he could call, thus continuing the alibi of Billy, who at this point was in jail. So now's the point where we need to talk about her untimely demise, right?
Tatum, come on! Somebody here but us.
Because all of this entire theory needs to make sense with what we are given, what is verifiable. Now, in order to square the circle, we need to begin with who killed Tatum. I believe Stu killed Tatum, and we'll get into how and where and why I think that. No confirmation was ever given IRL short of a tweet by Kevin Williamson a handful of years ago, where during an exchange on Twitter, he was asked, "Who killed Tatum?" And he responded with Stu. Now, don't worry, that is not my only piece of evidence. Let's go to the actual scene.
Okay, let's see. No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface.
The door is closed from inside the house. The way it's framed, somebody is coming in from inside the house and they also leave back into the house. The whole movie is pretty intentional at an action level. And so to have the door closed from the inside just to have the killer go out through the garage doesn't make any sense because you can much more easily escape into a crowd of people than go outside and risk being seen taking off the ghost face garb. Now, you may say, how is that possible? But as somebody who has participated in many a house party, it's very easy to get lost in a crowd when everybody's drinking, everybody's together, nobody's really paying attention to the details of what's going on around them. But I'm not done yet. I think that you can also chalk up the choreography of the exchange between Ghostface and Tatum to Stu-like moments. So there are a couple of key signature traits that are baked into the choreography of Ghostface based off of who is where at what time, kind of giving an aftermath, one of the after you know the twist, and on the rewatch really stands out that Ghostface in specific scenarios has choreography that almost conflicts with each other until you realize that it's two different people. So Stu is always showcased as being super clumsy.
Drop it, Stu.
No, I said.
Even when he's not being Ghostface, he's just a clumsy dude. And Billy, on the other hand, is this more brutish, stronger, more imposing version of Ghostface that doesn't really toy around, that is just there to get the job done and to get out. And between Tatum and Ghostface here, this was play. This was a game to Ghostface. And Ghostface was definitely clumsier than in other scenes. Now, all of that you could call circumstantial evidence. However, there is a deleted scene that very directly puts Stu in the garage that was taken out. Now, my running theory is that if you have that scene in there, there's really no way to unring the bell that at what the 3/4 of the way mark, you are definitively stating Stu's the killer. Now, you could still have a shock twist ending. You would just have to rewrite what Billy did, and Billy would become the surprise second. At least if you're still trying to unveil to both the audience and Sydney at the same time. Now, there is a secondary kill that we need to address because, in the court of public opinion, my theory conflicts with that. Now, most people will tell you that because he doubles back after having a conversation with Sid and Tatum talking about the party, he goes back towards the school, that Stu is the one who does in Principal Fonzie.
Come on, Mr. Hembry. It was just a joke.
And I do not agree. I think that's Billy. I think that is 100% Billy. And that is the reason why they shoot a knowing look to each other rather than Billy shooting a knowing look because he just finished Tatum. Just to recap, I think Billy is the one who did in Principal Fonzie, which frees up Stu to be the one that does in Tatum in a way that fits with the scenery. Now, at a character level, we've got evidence to remember. Not only is Stu super suggestible,
Always some stupid bullshit reason to kill your girlfriend.
but Billy is the dominant, controlling one out of the pair, and he's calculated enough to not want another person in on what's going on. So I believe that Billy told Stu to kill Tatum at the party, which still accounts for the whereabouts of both killers, working with what we've been given on the screen. He is not going to trust another person. I mean, we see what he did with Stu. And I do think that Billy is enough to specifically want Stu to be the one, almost in an act of showing allegiance to Billy, because he is absolutely the mastermind in all of this.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
At least at one. Hashtag Stu's alive. Hashtag we believe. All right, geeks. That's it. That's all. That's a wrap. Let me know what you think. Let me know what theories you have about Scream and which one your favorite movie is. Until next time, stay spooky and peace.